So this lecture is about how to animate a bird flying, and this is actually broken up into two sections. The first section is how to animate the bird flying, and then the second section is about motion paths and attaching our animation to a motion path. There's a separate video tutorial showing you how to put this into practice. But this is a general theory of birds flying. And whenever we start looking at any kind of animal action, or indeed human action, Muybridge is always a terrific starting point. I'm afraid I've slightly cheated here. This looks like an eagle. This is not a crow. The animation we're going to be doing is a crow, but it's incredibly good to look at reference like this to get a feeling for how birds fly. And the birds flap in order to propel themselves through the air, and we're going to do a slow 12-frame flap cycle. That is to say, 2 beats per second. It's slow by bird standards. Of course, some birds hardly flap at all. If you think of hawks or buzzards gliding along thermals, and other birds, if you think of hummingbirds, they flap so fast that we can't see them. They're almost like an insect's wings on a 1-frame cycle. But with the crow, we'll 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. We'll try 2 beats per second and try and get as nice and flexible as we can. Basically, the thing to remember is that as the wings come down, the wingtips are going to flex, and the bird's body is going to oppose the action of the wings. So as the wings go up, the bird is going to go down. As the wings go down, the bird is going to go up. That's the basic pattern. And here's a bird flap from a book, Timing for Animation, by Harold Whittaker and John Hallis, which has recently been updated by Tom Cito. And who actually I've worked with Tom on many films, and he's an excellent animator and storyboard artist, and also director. And here's our bird, and you can see that as the body comes up, the wings are going to go down, and as the body, or as the wings come up again, the body is going to go down. And this is a useful guide to how the bird might animate. And you can see that as the wings are coming down, the wingtips are moving upwards, and as the wings are moving up again, these wingtips are overlapping the main action and folding downwards. So the crow rig that I'm going to suggest that you use is from Turbo Squid, and it's a low poly crow. It's probably designed for games work by the real Jay-Z, and there's the link to get you to Turbo Squid. I'm afraid you're going to have to pay $5 for this one. This is not a free rig, but it is a good little rig. And it's wouldn't be very good on close-ups because it's too low poly, but for our purposes it's perfectly adequate for mid shots and also wide shots. So we want to start off by posing our crow at frame 1, ask ourselves what a flying crow would look like, and then use, do by all means gather reference photography, looking at Google Images, trying to get a nice reference for a crow and get him into a nice pose. But the basic flap cycle is this. At frame 1, the wings are going to be up. At frame 7, the wings are going to be down. And at frame 13, that's going to be the same as frame 1. Then as the wings come down, we're going to curl the wingtips up for flexibility. And then as the wingtips come up again, as the wings come up again, we're going to curl the wingtips down, also for flexibility. And here's our cycle. There's 1 and 13, and this gives us a pretty decent indication of what it's going to look like. And when you select the main movers on the bird, on the crow, you want to set your controls to world space so that it makes it easier to do the rotations. You also want to turn on infinity curves so that everything cycles nice and smoothly. And once you've got it, the basic flap cycle working reasonably well, you can start adding some flexibility in the tail so that it offsets the main motion of the body, add some flexibility in the head so that that offsets the main motion of the body, and you can slide the curves around in order to get more flexibility in the motion. So that's the basic flap cycle. Go ahead and watch the demonstration video, and then in the next video we'll come to attaching it to a motion path.